Derek and Daniel, Mario Galaxy 1 Plus 2 is out in 2 weeks' time, October 2nd, and we haven't had a whole lot of time to really digest the game. But there's not a whole lot to digest, really. We've done a few comparisons already, showing that there are differences compared to 3D All-Stars. For instance, the textures are different in some places, but it's not game-changing. It's not like they've taken just the 3D All-Stars game and they're selling it to us again, but they are selling us Galaxy 1 again, and then Galaxy 2 as well, for the low price of $70. So, just going off base impressions, how does that sit with you?
It does not sit well. I guess is the best way to put that.
Yeah.
I saw the price because I was on vacation at the time during the Direct, so I was not around, to talk with you guys about this. But I saw the price with my friends, and we were all like, "The hell is Nintendo smoking? $70 for this?" And Galaxy 1 and 2 are both great games, but okay, I already own the 3D collection, so technically I only need to get Galaxy 2. But that's $40. And that seems... It feels overpriced. But here's the funny thing. It makes sense in Nintendo's head because of the way they just tend to charge things. Look how much they charge for DK Bonanza's DLC. $20 for that.
Yeah.
But here you're getting
crazy.
a full game.
Yeah.
So technically, it's only $20 more than DLC. So of course, this is a deal.
We should not be comparing things to Donkey Kong Bonanza's DLC.
No, but I'm just saying the pricing wise,
No, I know what you mean.
It feels like Nintendo's a little cuckoo here. Like I don't feel like they know what's actually happening in the world, and they're just sort of doing what they're doing.
Well, here's the problem though. I'm still buying it. And I'm the problem here, because I find these games just ultra desirable. And you're right, we've had Galaxy 1 and 3D All-Stars already, but the changes they've made, even though they're so minor, like I want to experience the new chapters of Rosalina's storybook. I want to see where else they've adjusted, the visuals and areas. It's incredibly minor, but because this is one of the best games of all time, it's still just something I want to have. But also morally, it shouldn't be this much.
But guys, Mario Galaxy was sent to the Nintendo Vault forever after they took away us Mario All-Star 3D All-Stars. Of course they're going to sell it again for an even higher price. You remember back in the day when we had the Wii U eShop? Back then you were selling Wii games, and I think Galaxy 1 and 2, at least Galaxy 2, that was like $10 on that shop. And that was pretty much just porting that exact same game over onto the
I think
Wii
everything
shop.
was $20 on the Wii U Virtual Console.
Was it $20?
Yeah, I think every Wii game was $20. But that is definitely a point about value there, though, Daniel. Is they used to do Nintendo Selects. They used to do budget, Wii, I guess Virtual Console eShop stuff. It's just selling, the Wii ISOs, and like that was 480p. It was just the Wii game. You still need your Wii remote and nunchuck to play, but they valued it very differently back then.
Yeah, as somebody who already owns 3D All-Stars, I'm just compelled only to get Galaxy 2 because that's just the game that I don't have on the Switch 2. I love or Switch at all. I love Galaxy 2 as a game. It's one of my favorite Mario games out there. A little bit more, I'm one of those people that kind of likes it more than Galaxy 1. But man, paying $40 for it, which I mean we're not in this part of the discussion yet, but that's also the price of an amiibo these days that's themed to Mario Galaxy. So like what's up with the pricing and values these days,
Well, yeah, the amiibo stuff is very much tariffs, because in the UK they're not cheap either. So our standard amiibo is around £12, and the Mario Galaxy ones are £25. But they are pretty high quality amiibo. They've shown a size comparison. They're like double the size, and the attention to detail I think is kind of worth double the price. It's definitely not worth $50 though. Like, that's crazy.
No. Yeah, those amiibo, like Nintendo's very aware that these amiibo are more so the collector's items now for the figurine portion, because the features in game, they're nothing. They're mostly nothing in every single title we see now. It's mostly for just collecting a really pretty figure of Mario and a really pretty figure of Rosalina. But yeah, it's more so about the games themselves. So yeah, I'm somebody that's gonna definitely want to get just Galaxy 2. I don't know. I think about having both for $70 instead of getting you know, am I going to decide to get both on physical for that? Because I don't actually have Mario All-Stars physically. I remember I purchased that once. I gave it to somebody that I knew because they hadn't played those before. And I think that's what this is more about. It's more so getting this collection, this duology to people that just haven't played these games in the first place to kind of justify that price. But a lot of us have played it, and we don't want to pay this much for these titles again.
3D All-Stars was $60 as well, and that's 3 games. So we're getting one less game. However, it is 2 Wii games. I don't know if they value that differently or what. But Derek had a really interesting point connected to the Amiibo before we started recording. So, Derek, what is it you said earlier?
Their additions of what the Amiibo do are essentially worthless because the new assist mode just negates all of it. You immediately get 6 hit points. It negates any fall damage like if you fall off the level. What do you need the Amiibo for? And you get, you talk to one of the Toads, and you'll get 5 1-ups right away. Like you talked about how they were trying to find ways of making there be some function and not really much to them, but this feels like one of the least worthwhile things they've ever had attached to an Amiibo.
Yeah, just to explain assist mode a bit more, it's basically what Mario Odyssey had, so you can turn it on at any time. Just go to the pause menu, turn on assist mode, and it gives you 6 hit points, and if you fall off an edge, you come back in the same bubble from the Galaxy 1 hub when you fall off. And if you stand still, you regain your health. I guess kind of like Metroid Other M style. So you basically get infinite lives in a way if you're able to stand still and get your health back, which is what the Amiibo are, because you'd have to stand still for the Amiibo.
That's a good point. It's just much more worth it to just do the assist mode if you're having difficulty with this. And to be fair, I like the fact that they included this assist mode because that's how my son played Donkey Kong Bonanza. Assist mode was a godsend for him that allowed him to just essentially play the game all on his own. And I'm not sure if Galaxy is too complex for him at this point because Bonanza is inherently more straightforward game. You don't have the star limits. You can just move forward as much as you can as long as you do the main stuff. It's much more it's much more easily able to just progress without having to do a lot of extra stuff. But I think he would maybe enjoy having assist mode to make it a little easier, have it be able to get through a lot of the stuff, because he has tried Galaxy 1 on the 3D All-Stars and kind of bounced off of it. It's not the fact that you need to do the pointer stuff, that he's not really sure how to do that. I think he likes the visuals of it, but he just doesn't stick with it because there is a complexity here that that Mario I'm realizing kind of has anymore with his various gimmicks.
Yeah, right.
Where it doesn't really work for really young kids that somehow Bonanza did. So assist mode helps breach that gap for him. But is it enough? I don't know.
Well, let's talk about the pointer a moment. Because in 3D All-Stars, there's no sensor bar. So you're at the mercy of the Joy-Con gyro being synced. You can use the touchscreen in handheld mode, which is super awkward, because then you're sacrificing either the analog stick or the jump button, which the Wii Remote never had an issue with. You just pointed and played regularly. So there was never an ideal way really to play Galaxy on the Switch 1. And so with Switch 2, they've said there's a free Switch 2 update coming. They didn't actually say that in the direct, they just say you can play this on Switch 2, very poorly communicated. But then on the Nintendo website, in Japan only, they specified there's a 4K update and it supports the Joy-Con 2. However, in the latest overview trailer, in the description, they do say this stuff, but they also say that the Joy-Con 2 for mouse controls is just for player 2, which is of no use to negating that gyro drift issue for player 1, especially in Galaxy 2, where you're pointing a lot in that game, because Yoshi has to use his tongue to swing on flowers and things. You need that accuracy of the Joy-Con. And there's no reason that mouse mode couldn't have been player 1, because you could have just put jump and shooting star bits on R and ZR, and just grip it like a regular mouse and use those to jump and everything. There's really no reason why it should just be for the second player.
There's so many options that you have with a controller like this. Like tilting it on its side, I can imagine, you press one of the face buttons to do your spin attack or Yoshi's little side bobble, jumping, shooting star bits, all that sort of thing. But we only have those options that make sense for player 2, and I don't know how that does make sense, because you have the accessibility options that the Switch 2 provides you. Sure, gyro is a little bit better on Switch 2, which might assist in this game from desyncing too much, but that's like the only positive I see improvement over the Switch 1 version of Galaxy. So like, what are we actually improving here, aside from like visuals and whatnot?
Because it's going to be better than 3D All-Stars, as you said, just because the Joy-Con gyro is better than Switch 1's was. But it's still not going to be flawless. Like, we're still going to have to resync that thing every now and then. So it doesn't solve the issue. And they have added a new form of play. You can play with a single Joy-Con just like you can in Odyssey and DK Bonanza. 3D All-Stars doesn't do that, so player 1 can play on a single Joy-Con, player 2 can play on a single Joy-Con. That stuff's neat, but 2-player mode is really just for the person watching you to be involved in some way, because the second player doesn't do anything in Galaxy, really. They just collect more star bits.
Yeah. And now coins.
And coins, in Galaxy 2, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, just sort of like little brother aspect to it, and I've come to realize that that's not entertaining for kids.
No, they want to be the ones playing.
Yeah, there's like, hey, you play, I'll play, you do this.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's nice to help them out and whatnot, but a lot of times it's like he gets stuck on something. Dad, you do this, and I'll take this, and it's just we're swapping a lot, and it's just like I'd rather him just be able to do it on his own, or have the full enjoyment there. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's so tough, because these are good games. These are fantastic games, but is it worth a repurchase when you've already played?
You're right, they are some of the most amazing games ever crafted, both Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2. People debate which one is better to this very day, even though they came out like 15 years ago at this point. And they do that because they're both legitimately fantastic. You can argue which is better, it doesn't matter, because they're both great. And they still look gorgeous, even though they're Wii games, they still look incredible. Brandon's in the chat saying 2 is better. No, only one can be good. Yeah, you can. I guess that's right too. But they are so good, though. They're both visually incredible. They both sound incredible. The gameplay is so imaginative, and there really aren't that many games that come close to the ambition that they have. And they are valuable. They are desirable because of that. It's just, it feels bad paying that much.
Yeah, I think it really does come down to price. If this was priced at 40 or maybe even 50, it might be an easier pill to swallow. The fact that it is a full price game, and Nintendo doesn't add a lot. Again, the Nintendo Premium, I think, is going to start biting them a little bit, where it's just too much of a premium. Because you look at other collections, and granted, it's a different idea, but inherently. But you look at what Digital Eclipse is including with that Mortal Kombat collection, where you have, all these different games, all these different versions, behind the scenes interviews and catalogs and all this other stuff. And I don't know if that's been priced yet, but I'm assuming it's probably going to be 40, 50. That's probably worth $60 to get all that, because there's versions of Mortal Kombat that have just not been available easily in a long time. Yeah. And it's a value proposition whether you care about Mortal Kombat or Mario more, but what the actual content is there, I think matters a bit if you're trying to get more value out of a game you've already purchased. Like, I have no problem buying Wind Waker HD, because look how much they added to it. Look how much they changed to it. There's tweaks and things to make it make it worth a repurchase. And I don't see enough features here to warrant that. If there was a documentary that Nintendo made saying, hey, here's the process of how we worked on Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2, that is an instant buy. That is $70, because Nintendo does not do that.
Yeah.
Man, imagine developer interviews where you actually get to see the creation process of that.
It would be incredible, yeah. The closest thing we get to any extra, really, is the soundtrack, which 3D All-Stars also did in its menu. But some kind of, document or anything just sort of showing how the game was put together would really, really be incredible. And I feel like everything that this does add is fairly non-interactive, because the Rosalina storybook, that is a big deal. Galaxy 1 gets some new chapters. Galaxy 2 gets an entirely new story. And for many people, they say that was their favorite part of Galaxy 1 over Galaxy 2, all the lore that game had. So the fact that they're adding it retroactively in rocks. Mm-hmm. But you could just watch that on YouTube, though.
Yeah, that'll be uploaded immediately. People will make sure to get that because that's something people will be interested in, but not necessarily want to buy it themselves.
Yeah.
The value proposition is so weird in this situation because, like, at this point, like, they wouldn't sell Mario 3D All-Stars today again because you can also play Mario 64 on NSO. I mentioned this also on the Direct discussion that I had with myself. You can do the Mario Sunshine is going to eventually be available on NSO as well. So there's 2 other avenues to play most of this collection else now. That just leaves Mario Galaxy as the weird outlier. So of course, that one's going to be the one that they sell again to you. And also the conveniently tie in with the movie that's coming out next year as well. So they kind of timed all this out in a certain way, long in advance. And it's just a way to get people who have not also experienced Mario before, like as they introduced him with the first movie, to also tie in like, oh, there's a game or 2 based on the movie, so I should probably get that as well. It's targeting a whole new audience essentially. And as far as like that kind of outreach, and as Derek mentioned, accessibility as well, having that kind of assist mode to help a younger audiences to also introduce themselves to Mario for those that may not be able to play the original, because like I remember playing the original with some younger people beforehand that I knew way back then, that I would introduce them to Mario games, and they would do the player 2 option, but they kind of wanted to play as Mario instead, so we kind of flip-flopped here and there. I had the same experience with some younger friends in my family. And yeah, it's that kind of experience that they want to have themselves, not just like always have someone, playing the main portion for them because it might be too difficult. So it's a unusual kind of marketing, and certain things like having a developer interview, I would love that, and I also would never see Nintendo doing that on a game itself.
That's very can't imagine, isn't it?
That is not Nintendo.
No, but you made a lot of good points there, Daniel, though. The reason it exists isn't baffling, right? Because it's a movie tie-in game, essentially. It should exist. This collection makes a lot of sense. It's just the whole value of it that doesn't. It's not even that it doesn't. I think these games are very, very valuable. It's just this is a very high price. And it's also baffling that they've not really shown us the Switch 2 version at all. So what we're left with is something that looks really similar to 3D All-Stars. The textures are different in areas, but it's still a 1080p game. And we saw like 4 seconds of the Switch 2 version in handheld mode, which I'll play on screen right now. And what you're seeing, that is the entire clip that they showed, very short. And that means we haven't seen it in 4K. It means we're still seeing it in 1080p, which is crazy. This game that comes out 2 weeks from now, and we haven't actually seen the version that's going to be different from the version we've already played. And I also noticed some issues do still persist from 3D All-Stars. So they have redone a lot of the textures. If you look closely, many things are different. Not to the point where you'll notice without comparison, but they are there. But you also get things like color bleeding. So with the Lumas, for example, whenever there's a bright background behind them, the glow effect, the color banding of it, is going to show very obvious circles surrounding them. Whereas on Wii, it was a very natural glow. And that's something that 3D All-Stars couldn't replicate, and now Galaxy 1 Plus 2 can't replicate. So I don't know if it's just an issue about putting these games in HD or something, but if they're going in there and changing textures, I would have liked them to have addressed that and made it like a new glow effect or something.
It makes it feel like it's just stuff like that. It's like it's minor in the grand scheme of things, but it's also one of those things where it's like it doesn't have the extra care that you want to see out of something that is being charged full price.
Exactly.
And I think that's a lot of times where the value proposition is coming in, is like we're paying for it because it's a Nintendo game.
Right. And we're actually paying quite a lot, well, some of us are anyway, because maybe you're buying the game, and then maybe you're buying the Rosalina Storybook physical, and then maybe you're buying 2 amiibo, and suddenly you've spent like, I don't know, how much is the Storybook in dollars? Yeah, you're spending like $100, yeah.
Storybook is only like $25. That's like the For me, that was the biggest announcement of this whole thing, was getting a physical storybook that I have always wanted to have, and it's very more fairly priced than the other things in this package.
So $70 game, $25 storybook, and are the amiibo for both $50 each?
They're $40 each for the amiibo.
There's definitely a lot of dosh being spent on one. And movie tickets, I guess, as well.
Yeah,
one big
ticket.
Mario Galaxy. Yeah.
I mean, again, as cross promotion, it makes perfect sense. You get these out there, you get the kids familiar with what they're all about. You get your Yoshi, which was teased at the end of the last one. This is brilliant cross promotion wise. It's just, I don't know if Nintendo realizes people don't have as much money as they used to, because the reason I wanted to get 3D All Stars is because, well, they said it was a limited time. You don't want to miss out on that, and that's proven true over time. It's taken a while for it to go out of stock, but once it has. Now you want to get a physical copy of 3D All Stars, $150 at least.
Yeah, they printed a lot of 3D All Stars. That game, even though it was limited, sold 9 million copies, which, for reference, is more than Mario Galaxy 2 ever sold. Galaxy 2 was around like the 7.5 million mark. So 3D All Stars wasn't some niche little thing, even though it was only there, only printed for like 6 months or whatever it was. It was a big success. But I guess that also maybe speaks to how this might perform, because it is $10 more. But people didn't like 3D All Stars either. That came out at the same time as the Mario 64 decompilations came out on PC, so people were having like widescreen Mario 64 at 120 FPS. And that was there's no debate. That was more desirable than what Nintendo was giving you. And Sunshine was, it was widescreen, but it was still just emulated. And then Galaxy, kind of the same thing. So people weren't very happy, especially because back then the All-Stars name meant remaking these games. Like the Super Nintendo set that standard. So they're just giving you a bunch of emulated games. So people were rightfully not very happy about the value of that game. And we're just going through the same thing again here, but for $10 more. But I don't think it's going to sell badly, just because 3D All-Stars sold so well.
It's still going to sell very well.
Yeah.
And it's not going away, so it'll always be there, so people can pick it up. Like, a kid can go see the Galaxy movie being like, that was really cool, and I want to play the game, and that sort of thing. So to have it always there makes a ton of sense. And that's the thing, we are enthusiasts. Our viewpoint from the layman is extremely different from a typical person, or a new young kid. This is something they have not played before, or what have you. It's inherently more exciting for them than for us. In the grand scheme, we are niche. Let's be honest.
If you haven't played these games before, this is probably the best thing you can play right now.
It is, yeah.
Like, there's no way you're going to pick this up and say, I wasted all my money. Like, this is going to be like your favorite thing ever.
Yeah, these two titles mean a lot to me. I remember I was playing this way back in the day when the Wii U was out. The Wii was out. That we were in the process of moving from one place to another, and that was like a game that kind of kept me company while all that madness was happening. Playing the first Galaxy, and then Galaxy 2, I personally enjoyed that more over Galaxy 1. Like, I think Galaxy 1 is a game that kind of captures like the atmosphere of being in space more so. It keeps that constant theme throughout its stages. And then they just had all these ideas, and they just kind of threw it whatever the heck they wanted into Galaxy 2. That was more like a traditional level-based kind of game, going from level to level, world to world. They just whatever the heck they wanted. They just put all those extra ideas and just put it to make one of the most like fun experiences that they could on the Wii. And yeah, both of these games are they're timeless. I love playing these still. I'm still gonna pay for Galaxy 2 no matter what. But I'm excited for people that have never played these before to experience them and see what it's like, because we are 15 years out from the original releases, and that's a whole generation of people that just can get into this for the first time now. So
yeah, when I think Galaxy 1, I think black skies, and when I think Galaxy 2, I think blue skies. Because they, as you were saying, Galaxy 2, I think, it's still in space, but it feels like you're visiting other worlds more. Like you're going to like a beach world, or you're going to a world made of wood or something. And then Galaxy 1, yeah, it's a lot more sci-fi. Even the music's a bit more sci-fi. Like, you get those sort of, you get those big orchestral sweeps, but you also get those kind of like beepy boopy, we're in space kind of songs, more like sci-fi.
A lot of UFOs as well.
Yeah. And like, Brandon's going to disagree, but I think neither is worse than the other. They serve two different functions.
Oh man, yeah. The original Galaxy, I think I distinctly remember a lot more of the kind of MIDI soundtrack than the sweeping orchestra. I think I like Galaxy 2's soundtrack more because I can remember more of the themes that are just orchestrated and not just like borrowed from Galaxy 1.
Sure.
But yeah, that's this is when the Mario music really just kind of catapulted way further in its production quality, because that actually had the orchestra, and that kind of set the standard for more games that came after that, like Skyward Sword and whatnots. And we had got that Mario big band here today. That kind of started with Galaxy, which I think it really lends to that whole atmosphere as well.
Yeah. When I did 3D All Stars, the playthrough, I played every Mario game back to back, and I don't think I've quite done that before. There's usually like a big span between playing 3D Marios, but this time I played 64, played Sunshine, played Galaxy. And playing it like that, I think I came to realize just how much I love Galaxy. Because I still love 64, I love the movement of it, I love a lot of the levels. But I guess I realized I don't love every level in 64. There's some of those places I play them to get through them rather than to relish in them. And same with Sunshine. Galaxy, though, I think was just constantly fantastic. I've seen people criticize the motion-controlled stuff, like the ray surfing. I think it's fine.
Yeah, I never had
an issue.
Any major issue.
Yeah,
it's truly a magical experience, and probably in my favorite 3D Mario to this day. It's just that fun, and I think the other thing is just the production value behind it. It was mind blowing to go from something like 64 and Sunshine to Galaxy and have that crazy intro. You're going through the Mushroom Kingdom and having be in the middle of Bowser's attack, and just it feeling so epic. And even just in the overview trailer, you compare that opening to here's the opening for Galaxy 2, where it's same idea just in 2D, and it's amazing how much that impact is lessened.
yeah.
But the ideas, the actual gameplay of Galaxy 2, I think is where it stands out. Where there's just everything we couldn't like thematically put in here, just put it in, whatever. Like any idea works.
Do you know what I think would have done a lot for the core Galaxy fan? And it's something that people were speculating about. People thought maybe they added a free camera in areas. Because in the trailer, they show Yoshi running towards the camera in a place where you couldn't in the Wii version. And I think clearly that's a dev cam. But what would have really added something is if, like 3D World, they added some moves like the Odyssey dive. Like when you ground pound and you spin, what if you just dived out of that? I think that Galaxy is quite an unexpressive Mario. It's very much about following a linear, very perfectly crafted platforming route, but you can't exploit it that much. Like sometimes you can pull yourself out of a gravitational pull and go somewhere else. But it's not like Odyssey or Bowser's Fury where you can really make your own platforms out of the platforming. I think adding maybe a new move or something would have really made people go, oh, like I kind of want to play it like that.
That's exactly the kind of thing that made the Switch version of 3D World, of Super Mario 3D World, more appealing to me. Like they increased the character speed. There was options and movement options from Mario Odyssey that they adapted back into 3D World, and that just made it more fun to me. And I thought maybe with this as well that they may add something back into to expand Mario's moveset, but it pretty much is just the same moveset Mario's always had. It's very weird to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter what we say, this is probably going to do well, because people love these games, and it's easy to want to be like, kids will love this game. It's still visually still holds up, still looks fantastic, and it's hard to rebuy them if you've already have them. There's just maybe not enough there, especially if you're maybe a little tight on money. And you have to pick and choose because there is so much coming out these days. Yeah. So what do you choose? But I think it'll do well. I wish it was a bit of a more appealing collection for the returning player. But simply finally getting Galaxy 2 on Switch, out beyond the Wii, is inherently a good thing. I just Nintendo tax sucks.
I think that's where we all lie, really, is these are very desirable games we want to play. You both seem to be leaning towards Galaxy 2 because we already have Galaxy 1 on the Switch. It's not as desirable. But it just comes down to how much they're charging, really. Because these are fantastic games to be part of the Switch library. And even Galaxy 1, with that Switch 2 update, having that in 4K is going to be really nice. Not that we've seen it, but when we do see it, it's going to be nice. It would have been nice to have 120 Hz as well, which they're not doing. They say it's just 4K 60. I don't really know why. Maybe the game logic couldn't work at 120 or something. I don't know, but it shouldn't have been that hard. But either way, having what is still one of the best Nintendo art styles ever in as best clarity you can possibly get is a wonderful thing. It just, once you bite that bullet of the cost, I think you're going to have a good time with it. It's hard to get in there.
I'm more excited for the storybook. I'm excited to get that storybook physically.
Same. I'm going to read that to my kids. That's like a perfect bedtime story.
Yeah, I'm going to get it for my sisters as well. I'm going to get one for me, one for my sister. I'm going to get as many people into this storybook as I can. It's so funny to see in the direct that Yoshiaki Koizumi was holding this book. Like, hey Miyamoto, here's that book you didn't want me to add into there. I'm going to sell it physically to people all across the world now.
And adding it into the game you didn't want it in.
The way it's designed, you can also kind of claim it's the storybook from Thousand Year Door because it has the same star cover.
Sure.
So it's like, yeah, sure, that's it. It's that.
That's the next step.
Do you feel upset that they don't have the epilogue in there? Or you don't care because it's...
in the new print?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it depends how cool the epilogue is. So the first story is standalone as it is. I don't think it...
Oh, yeah. You don't need it.
Yeah, if they're selling something new, I think it would be better to have the new stuff in. But I'm happy enough.
Yeah, I mean, this book itself has more pages than what the actual Rosaline storybook would have. I don't know what's in like these extra dozen pages or so, but I'm curious to see if there's anything like the developer related or whatnot. We don't know yet. We just know it's the original storybook and nothing from the new collection added on there. But yeah, regardless, I still really want to own this, and it'd be really fun to read this to like my sisters and whatnot once it does come out.
Yeah. I don't think everybody has grasped that Galaxy 2 is getting a new story, because I think the way they phrased it in the Direct is we're also adding Rosalina's storybook to Galaxy 2, which just makes it sound like they're adding the Galaxy 1 version in. That's what some people seem to think. But yeah, that is a totally new one, which you'll be able to watch on YouTube.
About twins Mari and Lou.
That's it, Mari and Lou. Two little Lumas.
Is it gonna make me cry too? We're gonna find out.
Maybe. But I think we're probably best to wrap it up there. There's not much more to say because they are pretty basic re-releases. Some texture changes. They've changed the font. We haven't talked about the font. The font's been changed. Not everyone's liking that new font. But for the most part, you're basically getting Galaxy 1 and 2, but on the Switch and Switch 2. And they're expensive. But we're buying at least half of it anyway.
Yeah, we're just part of the problem, John.
Yeah.
I will say personally, I am not getting it right away.
Well, that's fine.
I can't. There's other things I'm more interested in personally because they're not going. I don't have to worry about it like I did 3D All Stars. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah. You don't have to worry so much about missing out this time. And there's a lot of games coming out up until the end of the year. So if you need to prioritize something else, something that's new, probably, then that makes sense. But if you want to hold out on this, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I think if my son ends up playing Galaxy, beating Galaxy, and really enjoying it, that's the cool. Hey, here's Galaxy 2. Sure. That's the perfect time to upgrade.
Yeah.
So.
If they supported the Switch 2 mouse in one-player mode, which it should, I think this would be really, really cool. I cannot fathom why that's just a two-player thing. I don't get it.
You're just going to have to play with 3 hands now, John, to get the full experience.
It does make you wonder, like, how much are they going to... How much is the mouse just a gimmick? Like, it could be either really like game-changing or a gimmick, and so far it's leaning more towards gimmick.
Well, this was the perfect place. It's a fully calibrated pointer.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense that Bonanza would have a mouse pointer, because what's DK gonna do with the mouse pointer in that game itself? He's just a punchy boy. But in this game, the pointer is the whole point, literally. So why isn't it here?
And the flexibility of it too, because in many Switch 2 games you can play like regular, relaxed, two-handed Joy-Con, and then put it down as a mouse, and it's going to recognize it's a mouse now. Like, this would have been so comfortable, but I don't get it. I don't get it. No. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you, live audience, for watching along with us. If you want to join them in that little box down there, you can, for just $5 a month on our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Till we meet again.